All right.
Hello and welcome to Palm Blisters episode 2. That's right, we've got a name this week and it's Palm Blisters.
Honestly, I like the name a lot. I know we were going back and forth between a few. I think you said Joystick Journey.
Yeah.
But Palm Blisters, I don't know. I feel like there's just kind
There's
of
a ring to it.
It has a ring to it, and it kind of gives it a story a bit. It's
Calls back to episode 1 too.
well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's why is it called Palm Blisters? But yeah, enjoy
Watch
it.
the first episode and find out. It's a story.
Yeah,
A joystick
right.
journey.
Joystick Journey. Yeah.
Alright.
But yeah, I mean, what are we talking about this week?
This week's theme is going to be horror in video games, horror games, or moments from games that aren't necessarily horror that still scare the crap out of you.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
are you guys big horror people? In general, not necessarily video games. Are you guys big horror people? Like movie shows?
I like horror.
I do. I like more psychological horror though. If that makes sense.
Me too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, me
wouldn't call
too.
myself super hardcore, but I really do enjoy watching crazy stuff at Halloween.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not super into gore, but if something scares me mentally, then
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I
this
would-
is cool.
I like the gore myself.
Okay.
I'm a big Evil
Well,
Dead fan.
You worked at Field of Screams though, right? So that makes sense.
Not Field of Screams. I worked at Bates Motel.
I'm
Bates
sorry.
I do have a
Yeah.
Field of Screams T-shirt though.
Oh, that's why I'm confused. Yeah.
One time, Dave told me I was a traitor for wearing that shirt when I showed up to work with that.
It's funny.
What was working at Bates like?
Oh, it's a really fun job. You meet a lot of interesting people. That Dave guy I mentioned, he's a security guard at Liberty Bank Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, that's interesting.
How did you like being a scare actor?
Oh, it's pretty fun. I mean, you have to deal with a lot of idiots, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
it's worth it when you actually get to scare someone.
Now,
Oh,
were
yeah.
were you in the same costume every time, or was it?
I
What was
was
Jamie?
this year. I was almost every night. I was in the the slaughterhouse as a butcher.
Nice.
I had one night where I was the janitor in the basement though of the house.
Oh, okay.
Did
But
you take any inspiration from games or movies?
Not particularly. I thought of incorporating some of that stuff maybe into my routine next year.
I'm just
Mhm.
picturing Butcher. I'm thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm
Leatherface.
thinking.
There's also on the hayride scene after the slaughterhouse is a western scene, and I thought if I get put there, I would try and make myself look like this guy from this old FPS from the 90s called Blood.
Mm.
He's called Caleb, where he's this servant of a demon who's also a cowboy from the 1800s. So I would give myself these red eye contact lenses, which I hope wouldn't kill my eyeballs.
Hopefully not.
Long black trench coat, the cowboy hat, and the guy's got this long, dirty hair. So I would have them put this mud mask that they put in our hair sometimes. So I would have them put that in my hair.
Yep.
Oh,
You already got the long hair. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, horror, I don't know, video games, horror video games, I've played a handful of horror video games, but I'm definitely more into horror movies and shows. I don't know, I just like a good scare every once in a while.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Have you guys watched? I'm sorry, this is kind of more film based so far, but have you guys watched Midsommar?
Oh,
Yes,
I love that.
I have watched
It's so
Midsommar.
good.
That's the psychological type
Yeah.
of horror that like you mentioned,
Yeah.
I do like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
some good-
That and
I mean-
Hereditary. It's the same director.
Hereditary is actually,
Yes.
I think, the scariest movie
don't
out there.
spoil
right
me
now.
Scared
on
the
that
hell
one.
out of me.
I think it is actually the scariest movie.
It's
I won't spoil it, but just
I
watch
also
it.
want to see his new movie, Beau was Afraid.
Beau is Afraid. I haven't watched it yet,
I
but it
haven't
looks
watched
really
it.
good.
That movie looks really
It's got,
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix. I know it looks like a panic attack in
Yeah.
the movie.
it really does. Yeah, I haven't heard too much about the movie other than it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, but for video games, the one video game that comes to mind is we talked about it last week on the podcast. Was Hideo Kojima's PT at
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
I
And that-
wish that came to
I
life.
heard so much good things about that. That was a project that just got shot in the foot.
Yeah.
I never played the demo myself, but I watched so many different YouTubers play it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was so hyped for it. I'm so
I think
Disappointed that-
I think there's a lot of fan remakes that people have.
yeah.
If you look around on
Yeah.
HBO,
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, people still play it, but it's not like the OG from Hideo Kojima. It's
Right.
Yeah.
modded and stuff like
I mean,
that.
there are PS4s that sell for a lot of money just because they still have
Yeah.
PT installed
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, because you can't install it anymore. So it's
You know what's funny
Yeah.
is me and my brother, we actually own a PS4 that does have PT still downloaded
Really?
on it. Only problem is our PlayStation barely works. So I don't
Oh.
think anyone would buy.
You gotta
But-
like open it up and like restore it or something.
Yeah, definitely could.
You gotta make sure you don't corrupt the data, though.
That's true. But yeah, but for PT, I remember like me and my brother, we played it when it first came out. That was probably like I must have been in like middle school. That was. Do any of you guys know when that came out?
I think it was like 2016.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Okay, so that
It was around there. Yeah.
okay. I
It was
was
probably like end of middle school or early high school for us.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Because I think I was like 8th grade or 9th grade. I was starting to get into Metal Gear Solid, which is how I heard about all the Kojima Konami stuff.
Right.
Which included PT being taken off the store.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of PT and those PS4s being worth a lot of money, do you guys remember? This is off topic, but the Flappy Bird phones.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember
I
that.
do remember that.
Yeah, people that had Flappy Bird still installed on their phones were selling them for like thousands of dollars.
That's so stupid because it's not even like PT where it's like a really cool game. It's something a guy made in a week.
Exactly.
I just love how it's just like there's like these lost games that are just worth so much money because you can't play them any other way.
I mean, it's not even like an especially good game that was made in a week. Like,
and there's so many games that came out after it that just are the exact same thing. They're just like copycat games.
Because I could have sworn they made like they remastered. Well, not remastered, but like someone made like a 1-for-1 remake of Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
But I mean,
who cares?
yeah, I'm not even a big mobile gaming
Why do people
person.
care
No,
so much
me
about
either.
Flappy Bird? It's like so many games play the exact same.
It's just I don't know. It's quick and easy. It's just
I'll
something
be
to take your
honest,
mind off of
It
things.
was fun when I was like 12,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
yeah.
it's fun, but
I
there's
could
so many
not see
copycats.
myself playing it now.
no,
It's just a simple formula. It's easy to replicate 1-for-1.
right.
It is.
But back onto the horror topic. Like, what's like a game, like the first game that comes to mind for you guys? That's like that game's like pretty scary, or like
For me, it would be Until Dawn.
Until
And that kind of comes back to what I was saying earlier about the psychological horror aspect. Because in that game, you can make your own decisions. And the end of the game is based off the decisions you make. And it kind of uses your answers to scare you in a specific way. Kind of like the butterfly effect.
yes,
Um,
yes,
Yeah. So if you say that you're scared of spiders, for instance, there will be a lot of like spider themed like horror
yeah,
and stuff like that. Like, or if you're scared of like paranormal stuff, like ghosts, it will scare you that way.
yeah. I love
It's
that.
interesting.
I never played Until Dawn myself, but I definitely watched many Let's Plays and like on YouTube and
it's
stuff like that.
so cool how many different outcomes there can be.
Yeah,
in that game.
I think that there's a lot. Like I think I've watched a bunch of different people play it, and I don't think I saw one person have the same outcome as the other.
Yeah.
I watched some of the Snapcube real-time film dub. That's my experience.
What's that?
Okay.
Snapcube.
Oh, Snap! I don't know if I've
Okay,
ever heard
do you
of it.
know that video where it's Dr. Eggman and he goes, "I've come to make an announcement."
Yes.
Shout out to
Oh,
the-
Snapcube. Okay, yes.
They're the
Okay.
people who made that video.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, I actually just recently discovered them. Like, well, I've seen that video like years and years ago, but Snapcube, like the actual chat, I never knew who made that, and then I just discovered Snapcube like a month or two ago. But yeah.
Yeah.
But how about you guys? What's like a horror game that comes to mind?
This is a weird one, but Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion. That game
That's
is
solid.
fun.
Well, my friend once described it as it's baby's first horror game, which I think is like a perfect way to explain it because
100%.
It's definitely a good way for like younger people to get into the horror genre without being traumatized.
yeah,
Right,
I think we need like, some like horror for kids or something that is good.
Absolutely. Yeah, like because like there's in that game like there's like mini jump scares and like for a kid it could be
There's-
I mean not traumatizing but like it could
Yeah.
be whoa like
I got freaked out when I was playing that game when I was like 9. When it was
Yeah.
like there's a part of the game where there's a big blackout in the mansion.
yeah and you're like uh-oh.
Everything just goes black. Yeah, I remember that.
Also, during that blackout, there's a scene where this was unintentional, but there's a flash of lightning, and then you see Luigi's shadow, and it looks like the shadow is being hung.
Oh.
This was like
Wow.
not intentional. It was like because if you're looking at the pose, it's like clearly something weird with the camera. Well, it's like a glitch with the camera, but it looks like it's just cutting to a shadow of Luigi being hung, killed.
Huh.
They
Wow.
killed Luigi.
Wow. That's dark.
I feel like that's pretty dark for a Nintendo game.
But it's so awesome that actually happened.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, because Nintendo doesn't go that.
I never played it personally, but I played a lot of walkthroughs.
Yeah.
I liked the two sequels, but they don't really deliver on being scary as much.
Right.
I remember my neighbor way back then had Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, and we would always go over and play it. And we would turn the lights off in the basement and everything, like get the full effect.
Nice.
That was always a good time. How about you, Dominic? How was it?
The one comes to mind to me is the Telltale Walking Dead games on console.
Walking Dead. I played the first one, and I was like, "This is fantastic," and I never picked up the later seasons.
Yeah, I played the first 2 seasons. The first season I think this is my 5th playthrough I'm on now.
Mm-hmm.
The second season I liked, but I've strangely only played that once.
Yeah. No,
those are definitely really good games.
Yeah.
I never played them personally, but I watched. Again, I keep saying I watched playthroughs, but I watched playthroughs of those. Like I think PewDiePie did one.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Markiplier did one.
I've heard a lot about them just because they were like so famous at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I really like how they base it off the comic books and not the TV series. It's more true to.
I didn't know that. I thought it was based off of the TV series. I you know what's funny? I actually kind of forget that Walking Dead has a comic series, and that's what the show is based off of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the show definitely strays away from the comics quite a bit.
Yeah.
Carl actually lives in the comics.
Yeah, I do remember that.
You know what's messed up? The reason they killed Carl, his actor turned 18, and that meant they would have had to pay him more.
Really?
No
I heard that he
that's
just
crazy.
turned 18 and was like, I want to go to college and do some other stuff.
That might also be a reason.
That could be a big reason.
I'm not exactly sure. I only watched the series up until season 5, and then I got kind of bored of it.
That's a good place to stop.
I got to season 3 when they were at that prison, and like,
the prison was the best
season 3
season.
is actually my favorite.
Yeah, it's the best season for sure.
Season 2 was just so boring.
Yeah,
but the prison season,
it's so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I actually watched it up until season 9. Well, I was so on and off with the show for a very long time. I watched it up till season 5. I was like, this is boring. I'm like, let me give it another try. Rewatched it all the way through. Got up to season 9, and then stopped. And now I think they have a season 10 and 11.
And I'm like, season 11?
Yeah, 11's the last. 11's the last one, I think.
And back on the gaming again, because how about that? What would be something you'd say wasn't necessarily from a horror game, but it's still a moment from a game that scared the crap out of you? I've got one already locked and loaded. Did you guys play Batman Arkham Asylum?
Yes.
No.
There's a scene where it's like you're walking down the corridor and your game starts glitching out, and you think it's because, wait, oh my God, no, is my console breaking? Because, it starts glitching more and more, and then the screen just goes black.
Oh,
jeez.
And then it's revealed that it's like a whole scarecrow hallucination before you have to go through a bunch of flashbacks to Bruce Wayne's trauma.
I like that.
I do remember that. Yeah, that was kind of scary.
Because when I think of Batman, I'm like, I don't think of horror. So it's kind of cool that they put
the Arkham games are surprisingly good.
Yeah, they are very good. They're all critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the combat in them, it's so fun. That's probably some of my favorite melee-based combat in any video game is the Arkham games.
Yeah,
I want to say Batman and horror. I don't think that's too weird a combination. It's a very gothic-themed comic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't know. I just always think superhero,
And then honorary mention to Batman Arkham Knight when it's a very well done jump scare. I felt like is a huge part of the game is you grapple around the city, climb up onto rooftops.
Yeah.
And then you just get to this one rooftop where when you get up, you get this monster, Man-Bat, and just gets in your face and just screams at you.
Yeah.
And it's such a really well done because it just completely breaks the flow of everything you're used to.
That's a well done scene.
That's a really good way to do a jump scare, I think.
Yeah.
I remember, I would say for me, an iconic moment that I don't know, I feel like a lot of people know it because a lot of memes came out of it, Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Was the welcome to the family, son. Oddly enough, it's not even that bad of a jump scare, but I just remember just you're walking through the house and you're literally just walking through a tight corridor and this guy just comes out of nowhere.
That guy was awesome.
And he's so scary looking.
He is scary looking.
Yeah, I forget.
in that game too, you just feel like you're in it because like
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know if it's just because like the graphics are so good or because
Right.
it's like first person, but like you feel like you're there.
You
And
do.
I think it's because it's
scary.
like how the enemies are sort of stalking you in real time.
yeah,
They're just walking through the house trying to find you.
Yeah.
right.
I thought that was so awesome because I feel like so many other games, it's all scripted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in this game, no, you have to just navigate this house while this person's looking for you. And again, it's not scripted. You just have to figure out what their route is, like which way they're going to look, avoid making too much noise.
Right.
And then when they catch you, it's like, you're not stopping them. They are.
Yeah, they're
No, that game was
Menacing.
really well done.
Then
Yeah.
even when you finally get to fight them, it's so stressful.
It
Yeah.
is. And
yeah.
it's difficult too. If I remember correctly, like I had a lot of trouble beating some of those like bosses or
Yeah,
whatever
me
in
too.
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, when you fight him, like, you have to, like, go through the... I mean, one thing is, like, that's one of those games where I feel like so many games where it's, like, scary, where they want to limit the ammo you have.
Yeah.
That's only really the beginning of the game, and then you still get plenty of ammo later on. Like, did you guys play Red Dead Redemption?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Of
Undead
course.
Night, where they did
Red
the
Dead games
zombie,
are so good.
the zombie DLC.
Yeah,
Nightmare.
Undead. Yeah, the,
Because then it's like,
Nightmare. Yeah.
they try and do the thing of, ammo is way more limited. It's only for like the first 2 hours, then you build it up and you're fine.
Yeah.
No, in Resident Evil, it's like, you do need to conserve your ammo because you will run out if you're
Yeah.
just...
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how you guys ever play The Last of Us?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
so
The
if-
Last of Us.
If you play The Last of Us on some of the harder difficulty settings, especially like grounded,
Grounded, yeah.
it's like you have to conserve your ammunition so much, and you have to make sure you don't die on grounded, or you have to restart the game.
That and like to like conserve ammo, like you need to be like pinpoint accuracy. Like you need to be hitting headshots.
Headshots
like,
only
Headshots.
because
Yeah.
if you take body shots, you're not
then
going to kill
that's
them.
just another
faster.
ammo. Yeah, bullet
That's-
wasted.
Yeah.
You miss one shot, game over.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
It's like, and then you have to like switch to your melee, and like your melee only lasts for like 5 or 6 hits.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And I know The Last of Us isn't really considered a horror game. I mean, I guess it is. It's more
It's
like
very-
survival.
It's got a lot of
Yeah.
horror in it.
Yeah.
I would
It's a
say
zombie
I would
game.
say zombie games in general are considered a
But
horror.
do you guys remember the bloaters? Like,
Yes.
the
Oh, yeah.
huge
I never actually
zombies.
played much of The Last of Us. I got a little bit into it. I think it got to when you're on that skyscraper that's like leaning on a tilt now.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
not as far as I got.
Oh, okay.
I'll be
So,
honest, probably my favorite game, The Last of Us Part 1. Just such a good story. It's like the perfect length. Like you have to be good at like scavenging. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It's a cool game.
Yeah, no. I definitely really enjoyed the first one. It's like one up there for one of my favorite story games of all time.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite story-based game.
Yeah.
Well, what did you guys think of the second one though? Because I heard that.
I ain't play
The
it.
second
I
one,
didn't play it either.
I played it. I played it twice actually. I'll be honest, I did not like where they took the story, and I know it's like a very controversial game
Yeah.
Yeah.
because can I do spoiler alerts here?
Yeah, I don't care.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, I'm cool.
you guys are cool. Okay.
Spoiler warning.
So spoiler warning. They kill off Joel within the first like hour and a half of the game,
Yeah.
and Joel was the main character of part 1.
Yeah.
And you felt really connected to him. Like, sure, he made some bad decisions. Like, he wasn't necessarily a good guy, but because you played as him and you saw what happened on Outbreak Day, like what happened to his daughter and all that, like you felt sympathy for him.
Yeah, you felt connected.
And then part 2 comes out. You know, the character named Abby kills him within the first like hour and a half of the game, and then later on you have to play as Abby and sympathize with her. But I just don't think they did it right. If you played as Abby for the first, let's say, like 5 hours of the game
Yeah.
and started connecting with her
That's what I mean.
right of the way,
I've heard a lot of these
Um,
spoilers, and I've heard that's the main idea. It's like they organize it in a
the-
bad way.
yeah, definitely the order of the game wasn't great. Like,
Her-
if I started out playing as Abby and I was like, okay, I know, like, I don't know, I know she's going through some stuff and all that, and then it got to the point where she kills Joel, maybe I wouldn't hate her as much and it would be okay with playing as her.
yeah.
But just the fact that they have her kill him right
Yeah.
away, and then you have to play as her and be like, oh, I like this person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't
it's
work.
hard. Yeah.
I remember seeing how much the internet hated her, and it got honestly kind of annoying because
I feel bad for the voice actor because she got like death threats.
Yeah.
It was
like,
bad.
I would see
Sad.
people like they make these huge stretches to say, well, this contextualizes her to make her worse, and it was like, well, look at her musculature.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that in an apocalypse or on a normal like diet. She must be hoarding food, that bitch. And it's like, okay, dude, you're just looking for reasons to hate her. You're just.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't hate the game though. Like,
I'm saying if like Joel was buff in the first game, no one would be saying he's a food hoarder.
well, it comes down to like a gender thing too. And
That was totally a gender thing too.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Like,
I don't want to get too political, but a lot of like right wingers don't like part 2 just because like, you know, you play as Ellie and Ellie's lesbian, and then you play as Abby, and Abby is supposed to be like not a feminist character, but a character that kills Joel, who's supposed to be like this big man in the first game that you play as.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just don't like it for that reason, which is dumb.
I
just don't like where they took the story as far as like how they organized it.
I gotta say, I feel like the moment I knew there was going to be Last of Us 2, like, I knew enough about The Last of Us to say, oh, Joel's going to die in the second game.
Oh, no, I knew Joel was going to die.
Yeah.
I just wish it wasn't so early on.
Yeah.
Like, I was totally expecting him to die, but I was shocked when he died within, like, the first hour and a half.
Yeah,
of the
like,
game.
come on, just give us at least until the end of the game.
Give us some more Joel and
you
Ellie
know?
time. But I will say, the gameplay is phenomenal in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like the horror and like survival aspects of the game, it did really well there. I was just not a huge fan of the story, especially since I was just such a big fan of part 1.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of games. So I played the first one. The first one was fantastic. The second one I never played because I just didn't afford it, and I couldn't afford it at the time. And yeah, it was so controversial. Yeah. Like, people are saying a bunch of things about it, and I'm like, do I get this game? I don't know if I should. But so I just ended up watching people play it online. And yeah, like the one thing that really stood out to me was the gameplay. I was there was things you couldn't do, like that you could do in the second one that you couldn't do in the first. And just like the way like the NPCs or like the computers, like the AI that you're fighting, like interacted with the environment.
They are so smart.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like you almost feel bad if you kill someone. You'll hear their partner or whatever yell out their name, be like, John, or like, and then you're like, oh my God, I just like killed a real person. Like it feels real.
It's like some great small details to add.
It really enhances like the life of the game. Like it really makes it like, oh my gosh, this is intense.
And
like,
how they hunt you down too, especially when you play on the harder difficulties, like they see you so quick. It can get really difficult. It is definitely a very entertaining game to watch, but definitely.
Yeah.
I also like playing a lot of old FPS games. They have a lot of horror elements in them. I was talking about Blood earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a really fun game because it's like set in the 1910s, sometime between like 1910 and 1940.
Yeah.
As like this cowboy guy from the 1800s, and you go through all these areas like an old train. You go through this really dark, messed up carnival.
It's funny. I don't think I've ever heard of Blood before.
I've heard of it. I just never played it.
Yeah.
Well, another thing I like about Blood is so many horror games, like you're surviving the monsters.
Yeah.
Blood, you get to be one of the monsters, and you're just killing the other monsters because you want to be the top monster, basically.
Yeah,
the top
that's
battle.
really cool.
You guys think Doom would count as horror?
It has horror elements, yeah. I mean,
you are literally fighting in hell, which could be scary to some people.
I think what's awesome about Doom is you're the boogeyman's boogeyman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some good games where you play as the monster or the bad guy? I'm trying to think. Besides the ones we just listed.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play this game called Stubbs the Zombie.
What's that about?
It's this old Xbox game where you're a zombie in like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because that's where all of George A. Romero's movies are set.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's like where instead of like fighting zombies or trying to survive the apocalypse, you're a zombie trying to start the zombie apocalypse. Like you infect people, I guess you control hordes. I think it has some real-time strategy elements, but it looks like a really fun game.
That's cool.
Nice.
Actually, one that I can think of is Have you guys heard of Dead by Daylight?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't
like
played it though.
neither have I. I've just seen people play it. But yeah, I mean, it's like an online game where I think it's like 4 or 5 people are trying to escape like a map or whatever. Meanwhile, one person who is a real person gets to be the monster and hunt these people down. It's really cool, and they have like a different selection of monsters. Some iconic ones like from like movies, like you could be Jason.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Are you sure about Jason? Because I thought that was his own game, Friday the 13th, the game.
Maybe I'm thinking.
I think you're right because I've seen gameplay of it too, and I think you can play
It's
as
either Jason or maybe Freddy Krueger. I'm not sure.
I think it's Freddy Krueger because Jason, there was Friday the 13th
Right.
game, which
Yeah.
that was also pretty popular, but that got shut down because of some kind of copyright stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
And then I think they have a similar game that just came out. I mean, based off the movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mhm.
They made that a game,
Yep.
and where you could be.
I'm a little tired of hearing about all these horror movies where they get video games, then it's just asymmetrical multiplayer though. Like
Yeah.
Evil
Well,
Dead.
speaking of
I heard-
adaptations, what about Silent Hill? Because that was a game first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I don't think I've ever watched the movie or the film or
I think I
anything.
heard the movies are bad to decent.
I haven't watched the movie either, but
They're older, right?
Yeah. like
okay.
early 2000s, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really played any Silent Hills other than what people said that PT was gonna be a Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I'm not
It
sure.
was a
Yeah.
PT. It stood for playable teaser.
Yeah. But yeah, they were saying it was gonna be for Silent Hill.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Justin. What were you saying?
I was gonna talk about like all these asymmetrical multiplayer games with horror where there's just the monsters and then the survivors. I remember when they announced an Evil Dead game, I got so excited because I love Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like a game where you're just playing as Ash Williams, fighting deadites and stuff would be awesome. And then I saw the gameplay and it's like, there's no story or anything. It's not an adventure, another adventure in Ash's shoes. It's just fight some deadites, play as the deadites. It's the same kind of gameplay as like every other movie to game adaptation that's been coming out. And it's just it feels tiresome to me.
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know, like Evil Dead, that kind of game could lend itself well to something in the style of Doom, where you're just playing as this cool guy that fights the monsters.
Yeah, he's just
Yep.
he's just a badass, and you could just kill whatever, just punching things and using whatever.
I mean, Ash Williams, he's got the chainsaw hand. Have you
Yeah.
guys seen Evil Dead movies?
No.
Yeah. I've seen the original trilogy, but I haven't seen the newer ones yet.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Don. Same.
I've seen the original trilogy. I've seen the newest one, Evil Dead Rise. I have not seen the remake though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've watched any of the movies. I considered downloading the games. It was like because I have an Xbox and they have them on Game Pass. I've considered downloading them, but I don't know. For some reason, like story games from me, I don't know why. Like, if I'm not like hooked like right away, then like I just don't want to play the rest of it. And that same goes for like shows and movies. To be honest, like I like am terrible at like watching shows because if I'm not hooked after the first episode, I just drop it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Like, a story game really has to hook you right away. That's why I liked The Last of Us Part 1 so much.
Yes.
That whole intro
Yeah,
is
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Another example is, like, Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you guys have played that, but right off the bat, I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Yeah. That's
You weren't a fan, Justin?
I've heard kind of bad things about it. I also know the guy who made Detroit Become Human is kind of a scumbag.
Oh, yeah, I separate from art. From
Yeah.
but-
But he also said, like, this game is totally not a racial allegory. When literally I've seen the scene in the game where they ask a black woman, why are you helping us? And she says, like, because her people were also enslaved once, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and you're saying this isn't a racial allegory.
Yeah.
This game where you also, like, one of the symbols you can choose for your movement is, like, just the black power fist.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now
I just like the choice aspect in that game.
Yeah.
That's cool.
it's like similar to like Until Dawn, kind
Yeah.
of like where like your choices kind of affect the outcome, right? Yeah.
And I just like, I like topics of like AI and like androids taking over. I just find stuff like that interesting.
Yeah. No, those are.
And I know that's more sci-fi and not really horror, but
Yeah, I mean it can kind of be horror. I mean, like dystopian, which can some
like,
people.
there's stuff like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
mm-hmm.
That involves AI and it's pretty horror. You guys know that story?
You were telling me about it. I've never.
I haven't really looked too much into it, but yeah.
Well, it is actually a point-and-click game and a short story. The game was based off a story, where it's sort of this post-apocalypse, but also dystopia, where mankind's wars got so advanced that they made a supercomputer called AM to basically organize their wars for them. And then AM just went insane and killed all of humanity except for 5 people who he just tortures forever and ever. And the game is about him, and I guess, he gives them these messed up adventures to go on for his own amusement, and the game is about them doing this while discovering that there's a way that they might be able to either stop Am or just kill themselves to finally just be free of this hell on Earth.
That's interesting.
That sounds really cool.
You said it's a point-and-click game?
And a short story that came out first. I read the story. I haven't played the game yet. The story is pretty discomforting with its ending, though.
Interesting.
Okay. I like stories with discomforting endings.
Yeah.
I was just talking about Midsommar and Hereditary. Those both have
that is
very
scary
discomforting endings.
Some people call it a girl power ending, which
For what?
Midsommar.
Like a feminist kind of movie?
Yeah, and it's
not really.
No,
I don't know.
Her boyfriend sucked, but he did not deserve that.
Well, to be fair, I don't think any of them deserved any of their deaths.
Yeah.
Spoiler if you haven't watched the movie.
This was really distracting for me when I was watching Midsommar, though. But it's the fact that one of his friends is also Chidi from The Good Place.
I never watched The Good Place, but I've actually considered watching it, but I don't know.
I haven't watched it either.
Oh, never
mind.
mind.
I did not make that connection when watching it.
And also, I got something spoiled for me from The Good Place, so I choose not to watch it.
I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, maybe eventually. But I do like the uneasy endings. For video games, I'm trying to think other than what you just said, I can't think of other video games where there's just a very unsettling ending and it's not a happy ending.
I know I keep bringing up The Last of Us, and I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's a fantastic game. It deserves its recognition.
Game, not really uneasy, but you're kind of just questioning if Joel made the right decision of saving Ellie instead of saving mankind.
Yeah.
So
now,
and lying to her about it, they ran some tests and they couldn't fix anything.
Is it confirmed that if he were to if he chose the other way, they would have found the cure?
It's not confirmed that they would have found the cure, but it's very likely that they would have.
They would have found some sort of research.
But they would have had to kill her to
right
to do that.
Yeah. It's a crazy story, but no, like you were saying, mentioning Last of Us. It deserves its recognition. It is such a fantastic game if you haven't played it. And they have the show that came out.
Oh yeah,
and
HBO show. Yeah.
Did any of you guys watch it?
I watched the first 2 episodes. It's pretty good.
If you watch it, it's a 1-for-1 remake of the video game.
I heard they added a lot of stuff too, though.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, for instance, episode 3 goes into Frank and Frank and Bill's relationship.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of seeing the backstory behind them. And yeah, I thought it was a really good adaptation. It's one of the few adaptations where I actually liked it.
Yeah, maybe that can be another theme for one of our episodes is video game adaptations, other stuff.
Yeah,
definitely. That'd be a really cool thing.
It's funny because I feel like the curse has kind of been broken in the last few years.
Yeah.
It has.
It's funny. Today they announced who's casting. You guys know the Sonic the Hedgehog movies?
Yeah.
They announced who's going to play Maria for the 3rd movie today, and all of the Twitter timeline is just people chanting that they're actually going to kill the child.
Oh my
gosh. So who's playing Maria?
And I think it's Annie Ann Brown. I think she's it's a kid actor, so they're probably not as well known.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's if you know Shadow the Hedgehog from Sonic and his backstory, it involves a child being killed.
Right. And
it's just very funny that that's an important part of the lore of Sonic the Hedgehog is child murder.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Five Nights at Freddy's?
Oh my
god. Of course. It's a classic.
You gotta.
I never played them, but I watched Markiplier play them all.
Me too. Those videos were so entertaining.
They were. I played the first one because the first one you could get it like on your phone. I played it there, but like just gameplay wise, like it's just not my type of game.
Yeah, no, same here.
But like it was definitely more entertaining to watch people
Absolutely.
do it. So
And
yeah,
watch
like
the Matt Pat videos.
Matt Pat, yeah, like all the lore behind Freddy, like and I actually ended up watching the movie adaptation.
Oh god, that movie was.
I did not watch the movie. I heard it was pretty bad.
It was like actually comedic, like how bad it was.
Matthew Lillard was also underutilized.
What was that?
Matthew Lillard, he was underutilized.
Yeah, no, for
also,
sure.
the end credits on that hit me like a truck.
Oh,
Wait, what are the end credits?
You remember
Like an end credit scene or like
was
end
like
the
credit
end
song?
credits music? Do you remember Living Tombstone? Do you remember that fan song for Five Nights at Freddy's? Like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
played that in the credits for the movie.
Yeah.
Really?
And I was like, oh my god, they're actually playing this in a...
Yeah, there was a few references to like a bunch of things. I mean, literally, Matt Pat was in the movie.
He was in the movie and he said, that's just a theory.
It's just a theory.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. Like in the theater, I'm just like,
Markiplier was supposed to be in the movie too, but he was busy filming Ireland, which is
Oh.
another really great horror game that I was telling you guys about that before we started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's a very minimalist game that does a lot with a very little.
Okay.
You're in the backstory is basically all of the stars and planets in the universe are gone, so only the people on space stations and ships survived. But moons are still there, and they've discovered moons with oceans of what they discovered to be human blood. And you're a death row inmate who can get your freedom if you'd agree to go into this very haphazardly built submarine to go into the blood ocean to photograph what's there.
Interesting. That sounds really cool. So, what kind of like game is it? Is it like first person or is it like top down or okay?
First person, it's like it's only like 1 hour. It's like $6 on Steam. I think.
Okay. Is it PC only? I guess. Or,
I think it's actually on Switch.
okay.
Oh.
Cool. Maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to like pay it, I can like hang out and just let you play on my laptop.
There you go.
Sweet. So as far as any other games, do you guys have anything in mind?
Another thing from the same developer was Squirrel Stapler.
What did you say?
Squirrel Stapler. That's
Squirrel
quite the name.
Stapler?
You're a hunter whose wife died, and you're trying to, I guess, resurrect her by hunting squirrels and stapling them to her corpse.
Who
It's a really
comes up
weird
How
game.
how would that resurrect her?
Yeah.
You got me.
Some weird lore behind that.
Who comes up with this?
David Szymanski.
David Szymanski.
He also created another game I really like called Dusk, which is just a first-person shooter where you're a guy who stumbles upon a cult in rural Pennsylvania that begins to hunt you down. And then some kind of infected military group also starts hunting you down before the final third of the game is you entering some kind of dark mirror version of our own world that's really messed up.
That sounds right up my alley, and I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It's Dusk.
Yep.
It's on PC and Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
styled
I'll definitely check that
It's
out.
styled after like a lot of like 90s polygonal FPS games.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it newer? Is it?
It came out like I want to say 2017.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
surprised I never
Dusk.
heard
Okay.
of that.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
check
a-
that out.
I'm a big fan. I got a physical copy from Limited Run Games.
Oh, nice.
You guys ever play Outlast? It's like a first person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love
Outlast
that.
and Outlast 2. Those were both really scary.
I
Isn't that the
remember
one
s-
where you're in the asylum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my buddy, who's actually my roommate now. He bought it, and we used to go over to his house all the time. You know, make the ambiance, turn off the lights, everything, and just play Outlast. Dude, it's very creepy.
Yeah, I remember turning off all the lights, putting on the headset,
Yeah.
and it would scare the hell out of me.
Mhm.
Like, playing it at like 11:30, 12 at night. Like it's
Yeah.
I
scary.
gotta try that game out.
Have you guys seen those games where I forget which games has it, but there's more and more games that are being pumped out where like you're being like hunted by a monster, and like if you make a sound like on your mic,
Ooh.
they will hunt you. Like they will hear
Are
you.
you
that
talking about
called?
Lethal Company?
Is Lethal Company like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, if
I
like,
didn't-
you're yelling on the mic, a monster might hear you and come over to you.
Oh my god, I didn't know Lethal Company was like that.
Yeah, like that's a big
I
thing.
think you're talking about something different though, aren't you? Like
I think is it Phasmophobia? Maybe
Oh,
it's
that might be it.
Phasmophobia,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be it.
I think it's Phasmophobia.
But I didn't know Lethal Company did that too. That's
proximity like voice chat is a huge part of the gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Lethal Company is like considered a horror game, but like every clip I see on like TikTok, Instagram, whatever, it just looks like a comedy. Like it just
It's a comedy of errors.
With all the mods and everything. Like it just looked hilarious.
I know. I mean, I play with some people, and we have a mod where the loot bug. You know that.
The Yippee bug?
Yeah.
Yippee! I love the Yippee bug. It's like my favorite thing.
It's like, that's an essential mod, honestly.
And,
yeah. You have to have it.
The Yippee bug. I love it.
But it's like, I mean, it still freaks you out when bad stuff happens, because like even when you're laughing, it's like, oh god, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time I was really low in health. I killed 2 of the Yippee bugs, and I was sprinting down a hallway because we were just trying to get out because more and more monsters were showing up, and then I died, and it was just such.
There's a clip on like you can probably find it on YouTube or TikTok, but it's like one of my favorite videos of Lethal Company. This guy had like a gun mod, so you could get guns in the game, and then he also had the Yippee bug mod. He goes up to the Yippee bug and he's like, he gives him the gun. He's like, "Go do a crime," and then the Yippee bug turns around. He's like, "Yippee!" and he just runs away with the gun. I'm like, this game is just. It's funny. It's not even horror.
It can be horror and funny. I mean, Evil Dead. Those are also really funny movies. Like,
Yeah.
Like he does the whole Tom and Jerry routine with his severed, possessed hands in the second movie.
Yeah.
Then he traps it under a bucket and weighs it down with a stack of books. The book at the very top being A Farewell to Arms.
That's funny.
Have you guys ever watched, speaking of like funny horror movies, have you watched Shaun of the Dead?
Oh, I love
so
that.
funny.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Another good one is Tucker and Dale versus
I
Evil.
heard good things about that one too.
Yeah, watch it if you haven't. It's like a parody of like Wrong Turn almost, but
I've heard of Wrong Turn.
Super funny. Yeah. So going back to games though, I remember earlier we were talking about not necessarily horror games, but games that scared us, and I just thought of one. Dying Light. It's not really a horror game. It's more like survival, like zombie apocalypse type game. Oh, sorry, I just punched my mic. But anyways, at night, why it was called Dying Light basically is these. It's been a year since I played it, so I don't exactly remember what they were called. But like a specific type of zombie would come after you at night.
Yeah.
And they were way like harder to kill, and they were super fast. They had like night vision. They went after you. Like if you were outside at night, you had to be prepared to fight these off or like be really good at the parkour aspects of the game.
Right. Yeah.
So most of the time I would just end up sleeping throughout the night because that was an
Might as
option.
well, yeah.
Just go to your safe house and just sleep.
Yeah, I never played Dying Light, but I've watched so much gameplay because I've always wanted it. Because I was like, I like the aspect of fighting zombies and then all this cool parkour stuff and like all these cool weapons. Because I played
Dead Island.
Dead Island.
It's basically like that, except I like it better actually.
I think I would like it too because I feel like there's just more you could do in Dying Light.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do. I haven't played the second one yet, and I really want to because I really enjoyed the first one. I probably sunk like 100 hours into it back like early high school days when I was really into gaming.
The first one my friend had, I tried it and it was cool. I've always wanted it, but at the time I just couldn't afford it. And I've heard many good things about the second one. And then even in terms of like Dead Island, like they finally came out with the second one after almost a decade.
And forever.
It apparently was terrible.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard that it was really bad, and I remember seeing the trailer for it like probably a decade ago. Like they came out with a trailer of it like so long ago, and it just recently came out. I don't know if they had a studio change or like what happened.
That's what happened. It was a studio change. So originally, I forget the original studio.
I think it was just a Duke Nukem Forever situation where they kept changing hands.
Yeah.
They kept having to reset development. So it was a whole mesh of ideas.
Yeah.
None of them that fit together because the executives just wanted to get this out because they...
It was originally supposed to come out like 2 or 3 years after the first trailer. But a decade later, you get a whole new trailer and I think it's like a whole new development company.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll pick it up. And it was terrible. And which is so sad because it's like you look forward to these games for them to just come out and it's like I just wasted well, now it's, I was going to say 60 bucks,
yeah.
but like $70 now.
It was,
Even
for a
more than
AAA
that
game.
if you get like a special edition.
it was
Special
nice
edition.
back when Duke Nukem Forever was a unique case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's sad to see. I talk to my brother about it all the time. It's sad to see like where the video game industry is going, just because now everything is just a cash grab.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, a big name,
Well,
let's put it
everything is
out.
live service now.
Yep.
You know, microtransactions, pay to win. It's
I remember
Everything
like
with Battle Pass.
I was excited to try Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga till we got to the start screen where it's like, hey, pay money for these characters.
yeah.
Who would have
I
been
hate
free in the
that.
last game, which I think I may have made this exact same point last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it the next episode too. That'll be my thing.
We're just gonna drill this point.
Yeah.
But like, when's the last time you guys bought a new game where you felt like it was complete when you bought it? Like, it's been a while for me.
Yeah, no, me
I
too.
mean, like, I can't say. I'm guessing you mean like a game that had just come out, so I don't know if I have an answer for that.
Yeah, like
Bomber
if you can
Cyberpunk.
think like within like the past 5 years, you bought a game, like a new game that had come out, and you were like, oh, it's a complete game right away.
Yeah,
I would say Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is really good.
Okay.
Wait, which one?
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
I don't think of-
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
I never played.
I
Hi-Fi
haven't played either of those.
I did see Hi-Fi Rush. Like, I think it won like best audio or something like that for
Yeah.
at
Like
the
good
Game
sound
Awards.
design or something.
Yeah, sound
Yeah.
design. I
Yeah.
think it
Okay.
was.
Well, yeah, because the whole game is like it's like imagine the gameplay of Devil May Cry, but also
Yeah.
make it a rhythm game.
Oh,
So you have to hit all the buttons in tune with the music that the game is playing.
that's
And
pretty
it's
cool.
cool because all the enemies attack in sync with the music. You can see like there's platform intelligence that again in sync with the music. Every single level kind of moves in this way.
Yeah,
It's a really cool game to play. Like
it's such a like what you're saying. It's such a hard question because like I feel like a bunch of games I buy or play now. It's like it doesn't feel complete. Like it's just
Yeah.
indie games is a different thing because those are usually made by people who are a
That's
lot
true.
more passionate.
The last AAA game I can think of was actually The Last of Us Part 2.
Mhm.
And that was 2020 that came out originally. So, yeah, that's the last game where I bought new, where I was like, oh, full game.
the full
like-
game. Yeah.
Like, it's actually polished. There's no bugs. There's no glitches.
I know I never played it, but it won so many awards. As you guys know, Baldur's Gate 3.
Mhm.
I know everyone's like, it is a complete game. Like, it's a perfect game. That's why it got like Game of the Year and everything.
Yeah.
Another game of the year, Tears of the Kingdom. That felt pretty complete when I got it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that
That's
might be it. Tears of the Kingdom,
Tears of the Kingdom was
Yeah.
really
I think is
Yeah,
probably the last
that's true.
complete game I played.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Nintendo games.
Nintendo games are usually much better about
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
complete.
because I feel like they're not. I don't know. They're not living up to a certain quota. Like people are like, oh, when's this company gonna pump out this game? Like Nintendo, I feel like every time I forget what their like conference is. I think it's Nintendo Direct is like
Yeah.
their conference when they announce games and stuff like that. I feel like every time they announce a game, it's like a shock. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize they were gonna put this out. And when they do, like they already have the game like almost complete. They're like, yeah, we're just putting the final touches on it for you guys to play it.
I mean,
Yeah, I love that when a game is announced and like a few months later it's released.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what happened.
I love that.
That's what happened with Metroid Dread,
Mm-hmm.
like the fifth 2D Metroid game. Like I heard about that game and it looked really cool, and I got into the whole Metroid series. And
Yeah.
there's like one exception to Nintendo with that whole thing though you're talking about. You know, it's announced they're actually be coming out. Metroid Prime 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of been in a weird development state where they announced it in
Yeah.
2017. There's still no gameplay or anything that's been shown. And in 2 years after they announced the game, they announced that it isn't going in the right direction. So they just completely restarted all development.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of like PlayStation and Xbox games are just like they'll announce a game and then it'll be like 2 years later and it's still not out. There's still only
It's
like
so
one or two
frustrating.
trailers for it.
It is so
They
frustrating.
put out a trailer of
Wait.
a little sequence they were able to make up with CGI and all this stuff, and they didn't even they barely even started
You
development
know
of the
what I
game.
think the
Yeah.
worst example is?
What?
Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but-
when I was in high school,
Yeah,
when I was like 2016, 2017, I think,
yeah.
they announced a brand new Elder Scrolls game. And it was last year they said they finally started. Pre-production.
Yeah.
What?
Like
That's ridiculous.
Why would you announce something? Yeah, it's because Bethesda has really tanked their PR, so they needed something to make people think they still cared.
Yeah.
right. And that's why like even like games like GTA, like GTA is coming out in like 2025, full of GTA 6s. But
Yeah,
like
when did that trailer come out? End of last year,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
end
Yeah, like
of
December.
early December, yeah.
2023.
To be honest, I kind of have faith GTA 6 will be a very good single-player game.
I think so too.
Rockstar, their online stuff sucks, but they have put out. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 showed that
Red Dead 2 is such a good game.
even when they were in the midst of all the bad GTA Online stuff, Red Dead Redemption 2 was such a great single-player.
Yeah, that
experience.
story is surprisingly good. Like,
Yeah.
it's really, really good.
Well, yeah, Rockstar Games, everyone, GTA is famous for being raunchy, but the stories are actually really, really
Sure.
good.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
Every GTA game had a great story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
like Franklin, Michael, Trevor, they're all great characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GTA 4 story, like,
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like that's kind of underrated.
No, I think it is
I
too.
got one of like the hardest quotes is when you have Nico going, war is just the young and stupid being tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. And you got Roman calling you up. Yeah, let's go bowling.
bowling.
Joe Gaza, let's go bowling. I didn't get far in GTA 4. I was bad at that
Really?
game.
I
might owe it to
grew
the
up on
fact
that game.
I might owe it to the fact that I was 12 and bad at video games.
Hmm. Yeah, I just remember, like, going back to last week when we were talking about, like, games we weren't supposed to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would always play that on my brother's PS3
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
GTA was it. I love
Yeah.
GTA.
And then, how about some of the more, like, obscure Rockstar games, like Bully?
I played a
and,
bit of Bully. That was a fun
Bully
one.
was a good game, yeah.
Yeah. Did they end up remastering it?
They
or,
did it for Xbox 360, which it was on PS2. Then they had the remaster on Xbox, which is just a lot of bull.
Okay, because
Yeah.
for some reason I don't know why I guess people want a remaster. That's what it is, and I see
People,
it everywhere. Like people always want a Bully remaster.
People want Bully too.
Yeah, or
I would
Bully
like a
too.
Bully too. That would be cool. I mean, like, it's been a long time since Rockstar Games has put out something that wasn't GTA or Red Dead.
And Red
That's
Dead
true.
is kind of the sister series to GTA.
Yeah. So it'd be cool to see something new from them, like even a new IP, like not even like Bully or
Oh,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
Manhunt, like a new IP from Rockstar would be really cool.
It would be nice, but knowing them, I mean, they're the
It's
one
not
of
gonna happen.
the
biggest gaming companies in the world, and they're gonna do whatever makes them the money.
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
I mean
GTA,
GTA
Red
6 is gonna make them so much.
GTA, so many people are not going to show up to work when that comes out.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure. Yeah, no, people are taking
People are calling
at
off,
least a
yeah.
week off.
I mean, I guess. you
I'm
know
gonna
what?
take a week off.
I'll be honest. So GTA 5, this is kind of embarrassing, but I've probably sunk like over like 200, 300 hours into it. Like, I'm not kidding.
No, I don't
So-
blame you, dude.
So I got it right away when it came out on PS3
Yeah,
because my brother was like, I'm buying it for him.
right.
And I played it. I played through the story twice on PS3 and like 100% completed it on PS3. And then I did it again on PS4
Mm-hmm.
and again on PS5.
Oh my gosh.
You went through all three generations
Yeah,
of consoles
it.
it was on.
I've
Which
got-
is ridiculous. Like, they milked that game so much.
They did.
But at the same time, I was all for it. I was like,
Oh, me
I
too.
will consume whatever you give me, Rockstar.
Yeah, I remember I had it for the 360, and then I had it for the Xbox One.
Yeah.
But like the reason why I really wanted to get it for the Xbox One because I was like, oh my gosh, they're adding first person. I
Yeah.
was like, first person
Oh,
GTA
yeah.
seems
That was
insane.
so-
I know.
I mean, yeah, it's a better
It's
way to
such
do
a cool
combat.
touch. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was the first GTA game ever to have first person.
first person.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, this is all a different experience.
Yeah, that's the one thing that tempted me to get it on PS4 or PS5.
Yeah.
I still have my PS3 disc. I did get it on the Epic Game Store when they had it for free though, so
Mhm.
and my laptop can run it.
Oh, nice.
So the only thing is it takes up so much space on my hard drive.
Oh, it's probably like, what, 150 gigabytes?
yeah, just about.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
When the game
That's the
came
thing
out,
with
I think it
games
was like,
now. It's
Yeah.
they're
It's a
all
big-
like over 100 gigabytes.
I
So
You guys gotta
Yeah.
try out some more indie games. I'm telling you, that's
yeah.
I
like
do-
I told you, Dusk. You gotta play Dusk.
I'll do like
Okay,
a
I'll
good
play
indie
Dusk,
game
yeah.
once in a
It's
while.
like $20, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll buy that. I'm trying to think of a good indie game I've played.
Right off the top of mine, I don't know if you guys ever played Hollow Knight.
I love Hollow Knight.
I
I have not
haven't.
beaten Hollow Knight, but
Oh.
it is so good.
It's my favorite indie game. And I'm still waiting. They're supposed to put out a sequel. It's It's called Silk Song, like
Yeah.
Hollow Knight Silk
It's
Song.
been taking forever. What I heard from my friend is the thing is Hollow Knight, they eventually came out because they were running out of money to keep making it. But Silk Song, now they have Hollow Knight money.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're taking as much time as they want to put as much as they can into it.
Right.
That game is going to be so long when it comes out, and I'm going to
I know. And they announced it years ago. Like, there's a trailer for it. I think they announced it in 2017, I
I
think.
think last year a new trailer came out for it at the Xbox press conference.
Really? Yeah. I just, when it comes out, I'm buying it immediately. It's my favorite indie game. Right?
Another good indie game, Ultra Kill. That's a really sick FPS.
Yeah.
You're a robot going through hell because all of humanity is dead and you need blood for fuel. Like, the opening text of the game is, mankind is dead. Blood is fuel. Hell is full.
That's cool. That's badass. So I know this isn't really an indie game, but it kind of has like indie game vibes. Life is Strange. Have you guys played that?
No.
But I have
cool.
a friend who absolutely loves it. Like,
It's
he's
a
like,
really
it's
cool
the
game.
greatest like story game he's
Oh
ever
yeah,
played. Like,
if you like story games, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's-
all right.
There's another one. It's called like Welcome Home or something. Have you guys heard of that?
I thought that was just like a welcome home. I thought that was just like someone's Twitter LCs.
No,
Oh, you know what? I just played a game.
I forget what it's called. I'm sorry.
I just played a game over break. It was called Outer Wilds.
I heard good things about that. I don't want to be spoiled though, because I heard that's a game you don't want spoiled.
No, you don't want it spoiled. I won't
Okay.
say anything, but it's just a really good game, and like the soundtrack is fantastic. It's just yeah, I highly recommend
I'll
it.
have to check it out.
Yeah, I remember Doki Doki Literature Club.
I do remember
I
that.
don't remember that now.
I remember watching people play it.
That was another like viral horror game that was free on Steam. It was like a scene of virtual novels that quickly became very messed up.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like almost like a dating simulator,
Oh, okay.
with like anime girls,
Yeah.
and then it quickly turned dark.
Yeah,
and you're like,
very
what?
quickly.
Yeah.
I forgot about that game. I'm crazy. That's crazy that you brought that up.
I keep trying to remember the name of this game that I played when I was probably 13. I keep forgetting what it's called. You play as like this detective, and you go to this, I believe it's like a psych ward or something like that, and it's super gory. It's like Evil. I think Evil is in the name of it. I remember it being horrifying. Playing it as like a 13-year-old though.
Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
There's like chainsaws in it. Like
Just-
I totally forget what it's called.
Different side note that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. How
Yeah.
long do we have this room for?
Until 3 o'clock.
Okay, because I was gonna say
It's 2:30.
we're coming up on an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about, honestly.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
wrap it up.
Yeah, this has been Palm Blisters episode 2. It was going to be horror, and then we went a little off track, but I think it was still a nice conversation.
That's just
Oh,
what
that's
happens
okay.
with
We can
podcasts,
go
you
off
know.
We finally had a name this week, and it'll be the same name next week, and so thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
Yep.
Peace.
Thank you.
Let's see it.